I want 50. Atlanta and New York. That's what we doing. You and Dr. Dre and Eminem and all y'all, G-Unit, all y'all, come on see the king. It's your catalog that got some trouble.
Okay, so first, like, you know, it was really about celebrating each other's catalog.
You talking about you were 50?
Yeah, man. We talk about this shit, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, BuzzBuster is happy to see you again. Smash that subscribe button and let's start. The long-running friction between T.I. and 50 Cent appears to be flaring up once again, and this latest chapter feels bigger than anything we've seen in a while. Stay with this all the way through because there's a lot to break down, and every piece adds more weight to what's happening. This isn't just another quick rap headline that fades by tomorrow. Beneath the surface is a much deeper story, shaped by years of tension, ego, reputation, and unfinished business. What makes this moment stand out is how suddenly that old rivalry seems to be moving back into the spotlight. Across social media, fans and online commentators have started picking up on subtle signals from both sides. None of it feels accidental. The comments seem more pointed, the energy feels more direct, and the overall mood has clearly shifted. Even without anyone saying everything outright, the atmosphere between them has become hard to miss. At this point, it no longer feels limited to songs or industry competition.
So for those that are unaware, T.I. and 50 have had a back and forth online because of the versus battle. T.I., called 50 out and said, hey, let's do a versus. 50 said, hey, I don't want to do it. Basically, that happened in 2020 to 2021. People moved on. Then in 2026,
the bigger issue now seems tied to status, influence, and the ongoing battle over who holds the strongest presence in hip-hop culture today. When names this major start sending even the smallest signals, people notice immediately. What's unfolding now definitely didn't begin overnight. This appears to be an old dispute rising back to the surface in full public view. Anyone who has followed hip-hop for years already understands that there's real history attached to T.I. and 50 Cent, and that backstory is part of why so many people are paying attention now. There's no need to go through every earlier chapter to understand the current moment. What matters is that something recently seemed to shift, and that change quickly caught fire online. The reaction was fast, the speculation grew even faster, and suddenly a situation that had been sitting in the background started feeling active again.
T.I. called 50 out again, and this time T.I. actually said in an interview with $1 Million Worth of Game that he doesn't respect 50 Cent's character, and that he doesn't respect him at all and doesn't want to share the same stage as him, and that 50 Cent backed out of the verses, that behind the scenes he said he would do it, but in the public he doesn't want to do it.
One particular moment during a live stream seemed to push things into a new phase, drawing even more attention from viewers already watching closely. From there, the conversation only got louder. Fans began connecting dots, dissecting every detail, and treating each move like part of a bigger message. Right now, all signs suggest this story is still developing, and if the tension keeps building, the next move could say even more than anything we've seen so far. Someone from T.I.'s family finally stepped into the conversation, and the message was anything but restrained. In a video that quickly grabbed attention online, he spoke straight to 50 Cent and brought up earlier issues connected to his mother, which made the entire exchange feel deeply personal from the start. People watching the clip immediately picked up on the tone. This did not sound like a rollout, a publicity move, or the usual music industry sparring. Instead, it came across as raw, emotional, and aimed directly at the other side.
Which then prompted 50 to go, and disrespect T.I.'s wife, and then his son, King, decided to go at 50, disrespect him and disrespect his mom that's, dead, and so on and so forth. They've been going back and forth for a while now.
Across social media, viewers shared the footage and pointed out how serious the delivery felt, adding even more heat to an already tense situation. For anyone just now following the story, this latest moment seems tied to a much older back and forth between the two camps. There have reportedly been public shots, unresolved friction, and years of tension building in the background. Even though people online are still debating the finer details, one thing stands out. This confrontation pushed the feud into even more complicated territory. Not long before that, the strain between 50 Cent and T.I. had already started boiling over again. Based on social media posts circulating at the time, 50 publicly called T.I. a rat and suggested he had worked with authorities in the past. In hip-hop culture, that kind of accusation carries major consequences. A label like that can shape public perception in a serious way, and fans wasted no time reacting once the claim spread. T.I. did not stay silent. During a live stream, he pushed back against the allegation and firmly denied what was being implied. At the same time, he said he had information about 50 that could damage his public image if it ever came out.
50 Cent threatens to expose T.I. in a documentary. This beef just turned personal. It started when T.I.'s son, King Harris, jumped in and dropped a diss track aimed at 50, trying to defend his father.
Treated people how they treated us.
Then T.I. fired back too, releasing his own diss record, turning the situation from internet talk into real rap war.
That response instantly raised the stakes because it turned a public insult into something that sounded far more personal and potentially more damaging. Now, with family members speaking up and old issues being pulled back into the spotlight, the situation appears more layered than ever. What may have once looked like another celebrity dispute is now being viewed by many as a much deeper and more emotional conflict. If that image had actually been posted, the reaction was always going to be explosive. People watching said the moment didn't come across like light joking or harmless banter. Instead, it felt heated, uncomfortable, and much closer to a real disagreement than a performance for attention. For a while, the tension appeared to cool off. Social media activity slowed down, the live stream stopped, and the back and forth became far less visible. From the outside, it seemed possible that the issue had finally settled and everyone was moving on. Recently, though, the story picked up again. 50 shared posts connected to Tiny on social platforms, and a lot of viewers saw that move as a very public way of provoking the situation. Once those uploads started circulating, fans immediately began arguing that the rivalry was no longer just entertainment. In their eyes, it had become something much more personal, adding fresh drama to an already messy conflict. Things escalated even more after those posts spread online. King Harris later appeared on Instagram Live, and it didn't take long for viewers to notice that his energy was sharper and more serious than before. Clips from the stream quickly made the rounds, showing him directly calling out 50 Cent while forcefully standing up for his mother's name. Those who tuned in said his message was unmistakable. He was clearly upset by what he believed was public disrespect aimed at his family, and he wasn't trying to hide that frustration. As the live stream gained attention, more fans started saying the issue had crossed into a completely different space. Once relatives begin speaking publicly, the tone of a situation naturally changes. What may have started as a celebrity clash or social media tension can suddenly feel heavier, more emotional, and far more complicated. That shift is exactly why so many people began looking at this situation differently after King Harris entered the conversation. At that point, it no longer seemed like just another online feud. To many watching, it had turned into a family matter playing out in front of everyone. Things seemed to shift even more when Boosie weighed in. He made it clear that in his view, King Harris did not respond in the smartest way. At the same time, he reminded everyone that 50 Cent is not just a celebrity in a headline. He is widely seen as a major business force and one of the most powerful names in entertainment. Boosie went a step further by suggesting that other people around King could be influencing how he feels and how he reacts. There has been no confirmation of that, but the idea still added more intrigue to an exchange that was already drawing heavy attention. Once those comments hit the internet, the conversation became even louder. Suddenly, this was no longer just about one back and forth. Across social media, people began arguing over much bigger issues.
50 Cent didn't respond with a song. Instead, 50 started trolling them online, posting clips, mocking the diss tracks, and hinting he might release a documentary exposing everything.
Viewers started breaking down ideas like respect, power, pride, loyalty, and the way influence can shape public behavior. What may have started as a personal dispute quickly turned into a wider debate about where the line should be when disagreements play out in front of millions. A lot of people pointed out that building a lasting empire in music and entertainment is not something that happens by accident. Reaching that level of success over time often brings a certain amount of public admiration. Still, plenty of others pushed back with a different perspective. In their eyes, respect cannot be one-sided. It has to go both ways. That is where emotions seem to rise the fastest. Based on many reactions online, the moment family members get brought into the conversation, especially through posts that feel critical or mocking, the tone can change almost instantly. What might have been viewed as simple entertainment suddenly feels personal. Once that happens, calm discussion often gives way to stronger feelings, and the entire situation becomes much harder to control. Some viewers also revisited earlier remarks, including the use of certain terms, as they tried to piece together how this dispute reached such a heated point. All of it has only made the public reaction more intense, with people still split over who crossed the line first. In hip-hop, words can land harder than people expect, and many listeners feel this kind of language carries real meaning. Rivalries between major artists are usually seen as part of the game, shaped by competition, reputation, and years of history.
Your daddy made your mama eat every box in Atlanta, so he's not even talking directly to Tip. He's talking to one of Tip's sons, who is dissed him, right? He's talking to Tip's family about Tip, but not just Tip. He's bringing Tiny into the situation yet again. And 50 also shared this post suggesting that maybe there's a darker story here. Maybe there's something I need to expose like I did with my Diddy documentary.
Once family members get pulled into the spotlight, though, the entire situation starts to feel far more personal. For a lot of fans, there's a line that may be tested in music, but not crossed. Rappers can call out each other's image, challenge career choices, or argue over old moves. Mentioning someone's mother, however, is widely seen as stepping into much more sensitive territory. Across social media, that point keeps coming up as one of the main reasons this latest clash feels more intense than the back and forth people have seen before. What once might have been dismissed as another chapter in the tension between T.I. and 50 Cent is now being viewed through a very different lens. The story no longer appears limited to two artists trading shots in public. Instead, many observers believe it now touches on family loyalty, unresolved issues from the past, and the massive pressure created by non-stop online reactions. That's where things can escalate fast. When artists with long careers and major influence are involved, every caption, every live stream, and every post gets picked apart by the public. Nothing stays small for long. A single comment can trigger waves of reaction videos, reposts, debates, and speculation within minutes. Emotions only add more fuel. Public taunting, sarcastic replies, and constant commentary from fans can transform a tense exchange into something much larger than a dispute over music. What people are watching now doesn't feel like simple competition anymore. To many, it looks like a conflict that has moved beyond records and reputation and into far more personal ground. One question is driving the entire conversation online. Did King make a mistake by addressing it in public? Or did he feel he had no choice when it came to standing up for his family? Across social media, the response has been intense and deeply divided. Some people believe he went too far by making it public. Others see it very differently and argue that he reacted from a place of personal loyalty and principle. No clear agreement has emerged, and if anything, the debate keeps getting louder. At the same time, 50 has built a reputation for knowing exactly how public attention works. For years, he has been seen as someone who understands how to shape a storyline, control the spotlight, and turn controversy into momentum.
I'm sure 50 is well aware of the allegations against Tip and against Tiny from a few years ago, when 12 women came forward claiming that they were drugged, that they were SA'd by the Harris family.
Industry watchers often point to that skill as a major part of his public image. He knows how to keep people talking, and that has followed him throughout his career. Even with that background, many voices online say this situation touches a more sensitive nerve inside hip-hop culture. Competition, lyrical shots, and public rivalries are often treated as part of the game. Those clashes have long been woven into the genre's history. Still, many fans and commentators insist that there are certain areas that carry a different kind of meaning. One issue mentioned again and again is respect for a person's mother. In a lot of online discussions, that is being described as a boundary with unusual weight. Once people believe that line has been crossed, the mood can change fast. What might have started as routine back and forth suddenly feels more personal, more serious, and far more emotionally charged. Because of that, the argument over King's response has only grown more complicated. Was he out of bounds for answering publicly, or was he simply following a code he believed mattered more than public perception? That is where the split remains. As video clips kept circulating, the story picked up even more momentum. Blogs, hip-hop forums, and social media pages began breaking down Boosie's reaction from every angle, adding fresh commentary and pushing the discussion even further into the spotlight. Across social media, Boosie looked clearly irritated as he spoke about the controversy. His main issue seemed to be this: why would King Harris openly go at someone with 50 Cent's level of influence and history in the game? From Boosie's perspective, rank and experience still carry real weight in the industry, and he appeared to be warning that younger artists should think twice before jumping into conflicts that have been building for years. Almost immediately, his reaction set off a wave of debate online. Plenty of people backed him, arguing that he was speaking from experience and trying to keep things from getting even bigger. To them, it sounded less like criticism and more like a veteran trying to offer a reality check before emotions pushed the situation too far. At the same time, not everyone saw it that way. Another group felt Boosie was missing a major part of the story. When family enters the picture, they argued, emotion is naturally going to matter just as much as strategy. For those viewers, this was not simply about business politics or industry pecking order. It was personal. As the conversation spread, screenshots and clipped videos only added more fuel. Fans picked apart every sentence, every pause, and every look on his face, the way sports analysts break down a title fight. The deeper people dug in, the clearer the divide became.
50 being 50, he's going to take this information. He's going to troll, and he's going to ask the questions, is there smoke without fire?
One side focused on the bigger picture, stressing smart moves, reputation, and long-term positioning in music. Meanwhile, the other side insisted that personal respect should never come second to status, no matter how powerful the other name might be. Several commenters also pointed out an irony that made Boosie's remarks even more compelling. He has built a reputation for speaking his mind publicly, often without hesitation. So hearing him caution someone else about bold public statements caught a lot of attention. Because of that, some users began to wonder if his message was not really about choosing sides at all. Instead, they saw it as a warning about how quickly public disputes can spiral once pride, family, and major names all collide in the same moment. At its core, the message was less about taking sides and more about warning people not to react in the heat of the moment. Today's internet never forgets. The second something is said during a live stream, it can spread everywhere, get clipped, reposted, and locked into the public record almost instantly. Some listeners took Boosie's delivery as a defense of hip-hop's veteran generation. In their view, figures like 50 Cent didn't build their image by moving impulsively. They rose by understanding timing, reading the media, and making careful public moves. Looking at it that way, jumping into a very public back and forth without thinking several steps ahead can easily create bigger problems. That reading opened up a much wider discussion, especially around the gap between generations and the way disputes are handled now compared to how they used to be kept private. At the same time, plenty of people continued backing King and his reaction. Their argument was simple. When family's involved, there is no waiting period, no media plan, and no carefully prepared response. What matters in that moment is loyalty, protection, and standing your ground. Because of that, the conversation quickly outgrew the original post. Before long, the entire situation was being framed by entertainment commentators as something much bigger than a personal dispute. To them, it looked like a showdown between strategy and raw emotion, between polished brand management and genuine instinct. On one side was 50 Cent, whose public image has long been tied to sharp online jokes, clever provocation, and a very deliberate understanding of how to dominate attention. Observers pointed out that he's repeatedly used controversy to remain in the spotlight, and many believe he knows exactly how social media momentum works. Facing that was the opposing view, represented through support for King's response. For those people, authenticity mattered more than image control. They saw his reaction not as a media mistake, but as proof that some situations are too personal to filter through branding, timing, or strategy. That is why the debate kept growing. It was no longer just about one exchange online. It had become a larger argument about how public figures should respond when personal loyalty collides with the realities of the internet.
What were your first thoughts when you saw your picture on this guy's Instagram? Were you like,
that so last week, man, we ain't studying that man.
I treated people how they treated us.
I'm back from my dope boy grandma. Your daddy made your mama eat every box in Atlanta. Freak shit, peep shit, keep shit on the low. But everybody knows.
so you going in the studio, does that say it all?
Going back in what studio? What you talking about?
I mean, you're a diss track.
On one side, King's reaction was praised by supporters as blunt, emotional, and completely uncensored. In their view, platforms like social media have rewritten the playbook, allowing relatives and insiders to speak instantly instead of waiting for a formal interview or carefully prepared statement. Because of that, the balance of control has shifted, and public disputes now unfold in a far more immediate and unpredictable way. What started as a tension around a single post or live stream has clearly grown into something much bigger. Now the discussion touches on deeper issues like respect, status, generational differences, and the limits of online commentary. With reactions continuing to pour in across multiple platforms, it's obvious this situation is still changing by the minute. As the topic kept gaining momentum, longtime hip-hop fans began digging through older interviews, archived footage, and past moments in search of added context. Across forums and discussion threads, many users noted that friction between major artists often never fully disappears. More often, it simply fades into the background until something brings it back to the surface. Several commentators believe this latest moment may be connected to years of underlying rivalry and competitive energy, even if the current version of the conflict only recently became visible online. That history gives the story extra weight, and audiences are responding to it in a major way. Meanwhile, media blogs started closely watching the numbers, and the engagement was impossible to ignore. Posts tied to the situation were generating strong view counts, reaction videos, shares, and reposts at a rapid pace. That kind of response only pushed the story further, turning what might have been a short-lived exchange into a larger public spectacle. At this stage, people aren't just reacting to the latest update. They're trying to decode the relationships, the past tension, and what this all says about the current culture around hip-hop, celebrity, and digital communication. Every new reaction adds another layer, which is exactly why the story continues to hold so much attention. For now, the biggest takeaway is simple. This is no longer a private disagreement playing out quietly. It has become a public conversation with real momentum, and everyone seems to be watching for whatever happens next. People started digging across different apps, trying to piece together a clearer version of what really happened. Experts pointed out that in today's attention-driven online world, even the smallest indirect remark can trigger an enormous reaction. A caption that seems harmless, a single emoji, even a brief silence during a live stream can be picked apart as if it were a clue in an investigation. At this point, the conversation has moved far beyond a niche internet dispute. What began as online chatter has grown into a major cultural flashpoint, with audiences firmly planting themselves on one side or the other and defending those choices intensely. The situation has become less about one exchange and more about what people believe it represents. Many viewers are also focusing on how fast online stories take shape. In just a matter of hours, short snippets were clipped, re-uploaded, and packaged with dramatic text that heavily influenced the way the interaction was understood. Once those edits started spreading, public opinion began forming almost instantly. Some people pushed back, saying key context disappears when a longer moment gets compressed into a quick 30-second clip. Another group argued the opposite, claiming the tone of the exchange revealed more than enough on its own. That disagreement only made the debate louder.
T.I. just dared 50 Cent to release a documentary exposing his family secrets. 50 Cent has been threatening to drop a docuseries about the serious allegations against T.I. and his wife, basically giving them the exact same treatment he gave Diddy. He even slipped a diss into his new Power theme song to keep the pressure on.
Content creators soon joined in as well, offering detailed breakdowns of body language, phrasing, and timing. Several commentators suggested that when someone with media experience like 50 Cent moves publicly, it is usually not accidental. To them, every post feels intentional, every message carefully placed. On the other hand, King's supporters have stressed something much simpler. People react emotionally, and not every moment needs to be treated like a calculated move. From that perspective, not everything is strategy. Sometimes a response is just a response. What makes this especially fascinating is that the real tension seems to sit right between those two ideas. Is this a carefully played media strategy or a genuine emotional reaction unfolding in real time? That contrast, almost like a contest between instinct and planning, has become one of the most heavily debated parts of the entire story. This moment is bigger than the actual words that were spoken. What really matters is the tone behind them, the timing, and the reason they were delivered that way in the first place. Beneath the surface, there is an even larger conversation unfolding, and it has a lot to do with generations seeing conflict in completely different ways. Many longtime fans still come from an era where tension was handled through records, verses, or quiet conversations behind closed doors. Younger voices, on the other hand, are far more used to speaking immediately, often through live streams, quick uploads, and direct posts. That contrast alone is fueling a lot of the tension. It is not only about disagreement, it is also about two different playbooks colliding in public. According to industry observers, social media has completely removed the pause that used to exist between a moment and the reaction to it. Years ago, an artist might answer back on a song, wait for the right interview, or let the situation breathe before saying anything. Today, there is almost no delay at all. Responses appear instantly, often while emotions are still running high. Once that happens in front of a live audience, everything becomes more intense. Thousands of people are watching in real time, reacting at the same time, and adding pressure with every comment. Under that kind of spotlight, even a small statement can suddenly feel much larger. The stakes rise fast, and emotions can escalate just as quickly. Meanwhile, the discussion keeps spreading across timelines, comment sections, and video platforms. One detail is impossible to ignore. The culture is paying very close attention. Every action gets picked apart. Each quote is examined from multiple angles. With every new post, the story shifts again, and the conversation keeps taking on new layers. As reaction videos continue to flood in, influencers and podcast hosts began unpacking the situation from nearly every possible perspective.
He posted a video vibing with his son King Harris and captioned it saying, "Nobody fears 50 over there." He even called 50 a fake and said Pandora's box is officially ajar. T.I. is making it clear he is ready to fight fire with fire, regardless of what gets exposed.
Some treated it like a case study in media awareness, highlighting how one post can redirect the spotlight almost instantly. Others saw it as yet another example of how, in hip-hop, perception, timing, and public response can become just as important as the original message. Status and reputation still matter in a major way, especially when the spotlight never turns off. With millions of eyes locked in, even the smallest action can suddenly feel enormous.
Online conversations have also zeroed in on another key factor: image. For many viewers, branding doesn't just shape careers, it shapes conflict too. On one side, 50 Cent has built a reputation around precise timing, cutting jokes, and knowing exactly how to command attention on the internet. On the other, T.I.'s Sons has often been linked to standing strong when it comes to respect and personal values. Put those two forces in the same moment, and tension feels almost unavoidable. What starts as a single remark quickly stops being just that. Instead, it grows into something much larger, a face-off between two very different ways of moving through the public eye. One approach thrives on wit, pressure, and spectacle. The other seems rooted in principle, loyalty, and emotional response. That contrast is exactly why people can't stop talking about it. Across forums and social platforms, fans are still piecing everything together. They're revisiting timelines, lining up screenshots, and arguing over what was really meant. In the digital age, however, perception often outruns proof. Once a story begins to take shape, it can spread almost instantly, gaining momentum long before every detail is clear. There's also a business angle that keeps surfacing in the discussion. Analysts in marketing have long noted that controversy tends to generate clicks, reactions, and conversation. Those things fuel engagement, and engagement keeps public figures visible. Of course, that doesn't automatically mean every public exchange is carefully planned. It simply shows that major names are usually aware of how attention circulates online. Whenever two influential people trade words in public, social media systems tend to amplify it. The algorithm notices conflict just as quickly as the audience does. Still, not everyone sees King's reaction as part of some calculated image strategy. Many supporters believe it came from a real place, driven more by emotion and protection than promotion. That split in interpretation is what keeps this situation alive. Was it a genuine response in the heat of the moment, or something that turned into momentum the instant the public got involved? Is this a calculated response, or are we watching someone protect themselves in the moment? Online, nobody seems to be landing on the same answer. What started as a public disagreement now feels far more tangled, shaped by reputation, family ties, and the non-stop force of the internet. This is not a simple clash with one clear cause. Instead, several pressures appear to be crashing into each other at the same time. Across social platforms, comment sections have turned into battlegrounds filled with firm opinions from every angle. One side points to rank, history, and experience, arguing that high-profile conflicts demand restraint, patience, and a longer view. Another group rejects that logic completely, insisting that basic respect should not depend on titles, status, or how long someone has been established. As those views keep colliding, feeds have transformed into non-stop debate arenas. Every new reaction adds fuel, and every post seems to invite another wave of analysis. People following closely also understand how unstable public opinion can be. A single clip can suddenly push the conversation one way, only for the very next upload or statement to drag it somewhere else entirely. Within just a few hours, the dominant story can shift in reverse. That constant motion is exactly what has people glued to their screens, waiting to see what changes next. Few moments stand out like this because there are so many moving parts involved all at once. Public image is part of it. Generational tension is part of it. Media handling, personal limits, and the pressure of visibility are all blending together into one messy, hard-to-read situation. Each fresh response online seems to reshape the entire mood surrounding it. Nothing feels settled, and that uncertainty is keeping interest unusually high. Behind the scenes, people within the industry are reportedly paying close attention to what both sides choose to do next. In situations like this, the next move often matters just as much as the original conflict, because one decision can calm everything down or send the discussion into an entirely new phase. Sometimes saying nothing carries more weight than any statement ever could. A quiet pause can speak louder than a full response, and right now, that silence is becoming part of the story. Some observers argue that pulling back might help calm the situation. Others are convinced that one more upload, one more caption, or one quick appearance online could send everything spiraling right back into the spotlight. Once major public figures enter the picture, even the smallest move can completely change the energy. A few words under a photo can reshape the entire conversation in seconds. Across hip-hop forums, fans and commentators are digging through old feuds, comparing timelines, and trying to figure out what comes next. In their view, these situations tend to unfold in familiar stages. Pressure builds first, public reactions hit hard after that. From there, things usually go one of two ways. Either the conflict cools off, or it grows into something much larger. At this point, nobody can say for certain which path this will follow. Even so, the expectation alone is enough to keep interest at a peak. That may be the most revealing part of all. Timing suddenly means everything. Each decision now seems carefully chosen, whether it is a social media post, a live stream, or complete silence. Nothing feels accidental anymore. Viewers are studying every move, waiting for the next clue as if they're watching a chess game play out move by move in real time. This also says a lot about how celebrity culture has changed. In earlier years, public comments usually came through magazine interviews, television appearances, or carefully written press statements. Now that barrier is gone. Artists and even those closest to them can reach millions instantly with a single tap on a screen. That kind of direct connection creates moments that feel immediate, unfiltered, and deeply personal. It can also make public situations feel even more intense because audiences are witnessing reactions as they happen, without the usual layers of distance. As a result, supporters on both sides are becoming even more committed, digging in and turning the moment into something bigger than just one exchange.
Plenty of people see carefully crafted jokes as a normal part of entertainment, something meant to spark reactions rather than be treated like a personal attack. A different group feels the line is crossed the moment relatives enter the conversation, because at that point, it no longer feels like performance. That clash in values is exactly why emotions are running so high across social media. Online platforms move at a relentless pace, leaving almost no room for people to pause before choosing a side. In a matter of minutes, hashtags appear, clipped moments start trending, and reaction posts spread from one app to the next. Under that kind of spotlight, every feeling can seem bigger, sharper, and more intense than it might otherwise be. At the same time, content creators are transforming the controversy into full-scale analysis videos, picking apart delivery, phrasing, facial expressions, and even the silence between words during live streams. Nothing is being ignored. Each small moment is being treated like a clue, as though one pause or one shift in tone could explain everything. That level of attention says a lot about how deeply audiences are invested in this unfolding drama. Many viewers believe the smartest path would be a private conversation, arguing that not every conflict needs to play out in front of everyone. Another side pushes back, saying public back and forth has long been part of hip-hop culture and reflects the competitive energy that helped shape it in the first place. Because both views carry weight for different people, the argument continues to grow rather than fade. Right now, this feels like far more than a simple disagreement between individuals. It has become a clear example of what happens when image, ego, and the non-stop machinery of modern media all crash into each other at once. With millions watching in real time, every reaction adds more fuel, and every new post has the power to shift the conversation all over again. Everyone is still locked in, because the very next move could flip this entire situation on its head. Right now, the pressure is at its highest, and whatever happens next may completely redefine how this story is seen. Will everything settle down out of the public eye? Or is another wave of responses about to hit? With image, ego, and public opinion all hanging in the balance, every upload, every caption, and every live appearance now carries extra weight. A single post could redirect the conversation almost instantly. One vague line or carefully timed message might be enough to push the drama in a totally new direction. Viewers remain split right down the middle. One side sees this as a smart, deliberate play by people who know exactly how to control attention and keep the spotlight where they want it. Another group believes the reaction came from a much more personal place, especially when family became part of the discussion. That's why this moment feels bigger than just another online back and forth. There's strategy in the air,
but there's also emotion, and that combination is what has everyone watching so closely. Now the big question is impossible to ignore. Was this a planned attempt to provoke, a genuine act of defending personal boundaries, or some mix of the two? Let me know where you stand, because people are still arguing over it and the conversation is nowhere near finished. If you want instant updates, deeper breakdowns, and straightforward analysis when stories like this start heating up, be sure to subscribe and switch on notifications. This situation is still unfolding in real time, and you can count on us to keep tracking every development, every reaction, and every small signal that could reveal what happens next.